In properly prepared soil, earthworms move approximately 20 tons of soil through their bodies per acre per year. Amazing. They're not just tunneling, they're eating organic matter in soil, then they're digesting it and excreting it.
Those castings contain 5 times more nitrogen, 7 times more phosphorus, and 11 times more potassium than the surrounding soil.
But they'll only work for you if you give them the right conditions. Hi, Carol from Almost 2 Acres. Today we're going to talk about how to get soil that'll make the earthworms colonize it by the hundreds. 2 methods, one using shovels, one not.
Method 1 is traditional double digging. This is work, but it creates conditions earthworms love immediately. Here's the process. Step 1, remove existing sod or weeds. Use a flat spade to cut undersod and roll it up. Step 2, spread 3 to 4 inches of compost over the entire area. It looks like a lot, that's correct. Step 3, dig 1 spade depth, 8 to 10 inches, turning soil over and mixing in compost as you go. Work in 2 by 2 foot sections so you don't burn out. Step 4, break up clumps, remove big rocks. You want uniform planting medium. Step 5, rake smooth. It'll be slightly mounded. That's fine, it settles. Your goal is thorough mixing without layers of compost and layers of native soil. We want them integrated throughout. When to use this method? You have small to medium beds under 200 square feet. You need to plant soon. Or you're in good physical condition and or determined. The pros: you can plant immediately. There is deep soil improvement, so earthworms move in within weeks. The cons: this is physically demanding and temporarily disrupts existing soil biology. Method 2, no dig lasagna layering. This is very permaculture. We work with soil biology instead of disrupting it. Earthworms love this method because you're essentially feeding them from above. Here's the process. Step 1, mow grass short, but leave it in place. It becomes earthworm food. Step 2, cover entire area with overlapping cardboard. Remove tape and staples. Overlap pieces 6 inches minimum. Step 3, soak that cardboard thoroughly until it's saturated. Step 4, spread 4 to 6 inches of compost on top of the cardboard. More than double dig method because you're building up, not digging in. Step 5, top with 2 to 3 inches of organic mulch. Step 6, wait. Wait 4 to 6 weeks minimum before planting. Longer is better. During that wait, earthworms tunnel up through the cardboard, eating it and the grass below, pulling the compost down, mixing everything. They're doing the work for you. When to use this method? You have large areas where double digging sounds impossible. You can plan ahead. You can do this in fall for spring planting. You want to work with soil biology. You have limited physical labor capacity. The pros: it's much less work for you. The earthworms do the mixing. There's excellent weed suppression, and it feeds soil biology continuously. The cons: you need to use more compost. You can't plant it immediately, and it requires something hard to find in gardening: patience. Here's what not to do. Don't repeatedly till. Tilling chops up earthworms, destroys fungal networks, disrupts the soil structure you're trying to build. Don't add sand to clay soil. Unless you add massive amounts, like 50% sand, you'll create something like concrete. Fix clay with organic matter, not sand. Don't work with wet soil. If it forms a muddy ball when squeezed, wait. Working wet soil creates compaction that takes years to fix. Don't skip this method and rely on fertilizer. Synthetic fertilizers give temporary plant feeding, but do nothing for earthworm structure or water retention. You can't shortcut this with a bag of 10-10-10. You've built the foundation. Now you must maintain it because cottage gardens keep demanding nutrients. Every spring, we give the garden a compost top dressing. Add 1 to 2 inches of compost around plants. Don't pile it against stems, but around the root zones. This feeds your earthworm workforce for another season of nutrient cycling. Think of it as feeding the earthworms and soil biology, not feeding plants directly. They transform that compost into plant available nutrients. After we've added spring compost, now we add 2 to 3 inches of organic mulch, such as shredded leaves. They're free. Arborist wood chips. Tree companies often give them away. Straw, but don't use hay because it has seeds. Mulch suppresses weeds, holds moisture, and as it breaks down, it becomes earthworm food. More organic matter is getting cycled through. During the growing season, add liquid feeds. For heavy feeders like roses, every 2 to 4 weeks during active growth. Add things like these. Compost tea. Compost steeped in water 24 to 48 hours. Fish emulsion. It's stinky but effective. Liquid kelp. Great for micronutrients. These give plants a boost while supporting soil biology. We can also add certain plants to build soil. Try working these into your cottage garden. Legumes, peas, beans, fix nitrogen, and add free fertility. Deep-rooted plants like yarrow mine minerals from deep soil and bring them up. Ground covers protect soil and add organic matter when they die back. That's permaculture's biological resources principle. Plants improve the system. Making your own compost is permaculture's ultimate catch and store energy principle. No fancy bins are needed. Original cottage gardeners just had a pile in the corner. Try this simple system. Layer browns and greens in roughly 3 parts brown to 1 part green by volume. Examples of browns, which are carbon: dry leaves, cardboard, paper, straw, aged wood chips. Examples of greens, which are nitrogen: kitchen scraps, fresh green clippings, green plant material, coffee grounds. Keep it moist like a wrung-out sponge. Turn it every few weeks if you want fast compost, 3 to 4 months, or just let it sit if you're patient, 6 to 12 months. Post 3. This is what goes in: all fruit and vegetable scraps, coffee grounds and tea bags, crushed eggshells, disease-free plant trimmings, shredded paper and cardboard, thin layers of grass clippings. Here is what doesn't go in: meat, dairy, and oils. This attracts pests. Pet waste. These are potential pathogens. Diseased plants. Diseases survive. Weeds with seeds. Unless your pile gets hot enough to kill them, you're going to have a lot more weeds. Even if you can't make all the compost you need, making some dramatically reduces costs. Plus, you're keeping organic matter cycling on your property instead of sending it to the landfill.
Kitchen scraps become earthworm food, becomes plant fertility. That's permaculture's produce no waste in action. Thanks for watching. Let's think of ways that we can be healthy this winter while we're eating that healthy produce we preserved last summer. Until next time, let's get growing.